Hey, good morning. It's Monday, November 5th, 2007. I'm Jeff Kohler, the one they call the Option Addict from optionaddict.net, and this is my good old watch list. So I'm keeping an eye on the S&P 500 this morning, and you'll notice that we're sitting right around 1,500. I think that's a pretty big number here. We see a close below that. We're likely to see some more downside action, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to start off with price patterns like I normally do. Some things that I'm watching this week are primarily flags. And you'll see I'm going to start off here with CME. I've talked quite about them, especially last week. Watch this for a break to the upside. The exchanges look really good at these levels. I also like MCRS. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback of that breakout we had on Friday. No problem here. This price pattern, though, still from top to bottom looking about a 10-point movement once it wants to get rolling. Next, I'm looking at good old CNX, Consolidated Energy. Same thing, just hasn't broken yet. I'm also going to look at ATU. I'm watching this as kind of a cup and handle formation. Still waiting on that breakout. We've had some price action intraday above this magical line here at about 67, 68, but nothing that is closed beyond that level. So keep an eye on it. Let's try GILD. And I like this here as a flag. If I zoom in a little bit, you'll see it looks pretty darn good. It's broken already to the upside, and it's still right around that old resistance level. So you can take it here, low risk entry point. Next is CLB. Same thing, I like this price action today. It's pulling right back to that old resistance level right at about 145. If I take it here, I'm still in time to catch a pretty big move to the upside. Next, I'm going over to OXY, and this is a little bit early. I'm still waiting for this thing to break, but I see some triangle action going on here, so keep an eye on this. Next is NUVA, and I've given you plenty of opportunities to trade this one, the most notably being right here ahead of earnings, and it's just done nothing but explode higher. Let it consolidate a little bit here. I like this flag. Pretty good movement to the upside once it breaks. Something in the ballpark of about 7 to 8 points if we see that confirmation. Next, I'm going over to Dawson. Been a little while since I've talked about Dawson, but you can see there's kind of a symmetrical triangle forming here. Still a little early, so probably within the next week or so is when I'd anticipate a breakout. Next, I'm going over to EPR, Entertainment Properties Trust. Now, keep an eye on the realty stocks because you're going to see this exact same formation in nearly all of them. You've got a head and shoulders formation, albeit it's only at the top of a slight upward trend, as you can see here. Doesn't matter. I still like this as they're establishing support levels which are getting ready to start breaking. So run through those stocks. There's hundreds of them there.
For shizzle dizzle.
The same thing would be for Kimco, KIM. We've talked about this in the past. You can see it's already starting to break down here a little bit. VTR is another one that I've been keeping an eye on. It's still moving. So I think the best looking one is EPR. It's a little bit behind the others. Next, I'm looking at SINA, another flag formation. And MOS, same thing, another flag. GCI, I've got a bear flag formation here, but it looks like it's already off and running, so we might be a little bit late on this one. And next, LCC, we'll finish off price patterns here. Monster descending triangle, waiting for a break below about 26. A couple things I'm watching as far as support and resistance bounces. I'm looking to buy the dip here in FSLR for solar. Perfect entry point here today. Monsanto, MON, you guys know I own all kinds of this stock here. Hanson's, I like this dip here, it looks pretty good. CF had a pretty good entry point here. You can see it's bouncing off its little support line here, turning higher. KOP. I'm going to go next to TRA, Terra Industries. It's just kind of walking along the support line here, so easy to manage risk. Next, I got Vimple. Still sitting right around support. I like it there. CMG, talked about this on Friday. Throw it up there again. ARTC, ARTC. Looking to buy this dip also. It's a pretty strong stock. Next, Boosie. Got to get Boosie right around this old resistance level here. The closer you can get it to that level, the easier it is to manage risk. SGR. There it is. Another dip in a strong upward trending stock. As well as CCJ, sitting right around its trend line. LKQX, the worst ticker symbol in the world.
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Getting right around its trend line as well. EDU, I want you to keep an eye on this stock here as far as education's concerned. Talked about this one long time ago. I don't know about this dip quite yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it. If I see some price action to the upside, I think I'm going to take it down today or tomorrow. Next, MTL. If you want to get into steel, you got to look here. Also, STLD. I like the setup in Steel Dynamics. Getting it as close to this level as we possibly can. ANSS. It's a couple days already off of support, so I'll let you decide. ALXN. I like this stock as far as pharmaceuticals. You can see it's holding that gap pretty nicely. However, I'd like to see it turn up just a little bit. Finally, WFR. Pulling back to retest an old 52-week high. Some bearish ideas. Next, I've got Gemlight, GLYT. I still love this entry point here, right off of old support. EQ. Same thing, it rallied right up to that old support level, turning back down. Super value, SVU. Gotta like that dip. GRP. This one might be a little early, but I like this look here. CVH, you can see these all pretty much look the same. I'm looking to ride rallies in little downward trending stocks, and Coventry here is just now starting to make some lower highs and lower lows, so I'm trying to grab this lower high. JCG, some old J Crew, just kind of in a range here. Once it breaks to the downside, kind of a bear flag if you will. Once it breaks 35 though, I think the stock will hit low 30s. Go next to FRT. Same thing. I don't know how I'm going to draw this one here, but kind of a head and shoulders right around like this. You see a stronger break. I think this has got some good potential to the downside. SNDK. It's probably the setup of the day right here. Like that. Right off of 45, starting to roll over. Get it now. It's going to make its way down to 35 within 2 months. Toyota Motors. Looking pretty weak. Like that, right off of resistance. ARW, Aero Electronics. It was bullish on this a while back, but starting to make some lower highs and lower lows, so it can catch this one as it rolls over. And then a couple stocks I'm watching to break out of. Some stocks that have just kind of formed ranges recently, Air Products being one of them. Either you take it when it breaks support as a triple top, or when it breaks resistance, you get long. My preference would be getting long, of course, if it breaks to the upside because of that beautiful upward trend, but I'll trade it either way. CNQR. You know, I'm still watching this thing for whatever reason. RCI was the breakout I warned you about on Friday. It's still running. Research in Motion. Got to grab it here. It's starting to get strong again. You can look at these daily ranges are getting a little more dynamic. So I like this little breakout it had on Friday, and it's still going. Go next to BHP. And same thing, just kind of forming a range up here at the top of its trend. Keep an eye on this one. PCZ. I love the look of this actually, just a monster ascending triangle, but I could be a month ahead of this one yet. It's really hard to tell. But if we see a break above about 58, you got to buy with both hands.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
Technologies, you guys know I've been following this one for a long period of time. We traded this climb back up to its 52-week high, and now it's breaking out. So catch it around 28. Last but not least, GME on this list, and just another range right at the top of an upward trend. Now, ranges on downtrending stocks, I'm watching NC, still on the list. I'm also watching CX. It looks like it's starting to break today, so you might want to pay that some attention. CBT, same thing, kind of like a descending triangle going on here. FRX, Forest Labs, it's just kind of in a range down here at its lows. Leg Mason, I also like this setup here a lot. And it's starting to break here today also. JLL, still like this, it's breaking. And KSS, which is going to be the last on my list today. So folks, that'll conclude another beauty this week. Appreciate you watching, and make sure to visit me at optionaddict.net. Take care.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.